Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for our exciting announcement. We're pleased to be joined by agency heads and representatives from across the federal government today. To kick us off and share today's announcement, I'd like to first introduce SBA Administrator Isabella Casillas Guzman. Administrator.
Thanks, Christina, and thanks for everyone. Thanks to everyone really for joining us today, and including my federal colleagues, many across the 24 contracting agencies that are so critical to helping us achieve our goals for small business contracting. And really, none of this announcement today would be possible without all of them. And I want to also thank my incredible team at the SBA. Of course, the SBA is the agency committed to helping to deliver that American dream of business ownership to more. There are 33 million businesses in this country, and my team has worked really hard to make sure that we can ensure revenue growth opportunities through federal contracting for more small businesses, whether that was getting them the capital or the investment that they needed, or the education or the actual government contracting and business development assistance. And so thank you so much to my government contracting business development team in particular, and my associate administrator, Bibi Hidalgo, who's also joining us today. This scorecard is truly unique, and I'm so honored to be able to announce fiscal year 21 results, the President Biden's first year in office, and it is historic. Let me put it first in context. We know that small businesses really are critical in our economy, creating 2/3 of our net new jobs and producing more than 40% of our economic output. But truly, they give us the products and the services that we depend on every day. And they innovate to solve problems across the globe, but that's why they're also so critical as a part of our federal supply chain. And in order to really fulfill the missions of all the agencies, we do need a strong small business supply chain to be able to, give us those goods and those services. And so, the SBA is really honored to help lead this effort in amplifying the small business programs into communities across the country, and making sure that agencies can deliver by getting more contracts to small businesses. And the U.S. government is the world's largest buyer of goods and services. And so when we're talking about opportunities for growth, especially during this time, we know that we want our small businesses to tap into the federal buy of everything from, food to data analytics to military uniforms, solar cells, biotechnologies, and even flowers. That's always my favorite thing to list. And we've seen, unfortunately, in the last 10 years, some data points that are causing concern. We've seen the industrial base decrease 40% over the past 10 years, really showing that less small businesses are trying to do business with the federal government. We've seen geographic concentration as well around the country, and a decline in new entrants to federal contracting. And that's why the Biden-Harris administration took an early commitment to ensuring that small businesses were part of the agency's solutions in federal contracting, and that we have a level playing field and can increase competition. President Biden and Vice President Harris put equity at the heart of everything we do as well. Announcing last year at the centennial of the Tulsa Race Massacre that we were going to transform how the U.S. government would spend billions of dollars on goods and services each year by increasing the share going to small disadvantaged businesses, in particular, by 50% by 2025. And this is what we've been working on this past year, and so which is why I'm so pleased to announce that the scorecard for fiscal year 21, the Biden-Harris administration's first year, shows that we have put equity and opportunity for small businesses at the heart of our work. The U.S. has reached the highest level in federal small business contracting in history, more than 27%. Significantly beating the 23% goal that we set for ourselves each year. And that's $154.2 billion in contract dollars going to small businesses across the country. $8 billion more in our economy than previous years. And that's a new record for the federal government. And we, in the process, also hit the other very important goal that the president has laid out of driving to a 15% small disadvantaged business goal by 2025 by hitting 11% this year, a year ahead of schedule, actually, with $62.4 billion of our contract dollars going to small disadvantaged businesses. Proudly, we also surpassed the 3% service disabled veteran owned small business goal, spending 4.41% of our dollars, or $25 billion, with those service disabled vets. 21 agencies earned an A or an A plus. Overachievers for sure, because that's over 100% plus of meeting their goals. We have some of those distinguished leaders with us today, and I'm so excited that you'll be able to hear from a variety of speakers across the administration. The 2021 contracting achievements are great markers of the progress that we're trying to lead in our equity and procurement reforms in particular. And with the historic reforms that we announced last year with the White House and the Office of Management and Budget and across the agencies, we are seeing progress. We made some significant changes to strategic sourcing, started ensuring transparency by releasing disaggregated data and tracking those new entrants. And we wanted to ensure that we were managing to performance plans, really focusing on small business contracting and socioeconomic firm goals. I know that we've been able to direct more than 40,000 federal contracting officers to invest tens of billions of dollars building America and buying American with small disadvantaged businesses. I think that the key now, and I know you're going to hear from some of our great leaders across the agencies, is that we are building on these results with major reforms and trying to expand access to contracting for small businesses as we look forward into the future, opening more doors for equity and opportunity, including where we have work to do for women-owned small businesses and hub-zone businesses. It's about addressing capital challenges and simplifying processes and certifications to attract more small firms. It's about helping more small businesses learn how to do business with the federal government by funding expanded networks for small business centers, which we've done through the American Rescue Plan. I think that we need to meet our small businesses where they are and get more of those small businesses to do business with the federal government. And we've set so many records in 2021, and we're just getting started in the Biden-Harris administration to help ensure that our federal supply chain is vibrant, innovative, and full of small business ready to deliver to achieve our goals. I know that as we see our increases in small business contracting as well as subcontracting, we're helping more small businesses sell to the world's largest buyer. And I know that investing in our small business economy, especially our underserved and socioeconomically disadvantaged firms, is the right thing to do. Not just good for business, but it's good to advance our economy and ensure that our national security, our democracy, and our economy are strong into the future. So I'm so pleased to be joined by such a great, amazing group of leaders across the administration and in the White House to share more about what the administration is doing and how this historic accomplishment was achieved. So Christina, I'll pass it on to you to keep on going.
Thank you, Administrator. Now we'd like to turn it over to Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms. She's Senior Advisor to the President for Public Engagement and former Mayor of Atlanta. Mayor?
Hi, good afternoon, and thank you, Christina, for that introduction. It's great to be with you all for this announcement, and thank you, Administrator Guzman, for inviting me to join you. I come from a family of small business owners, so I know how important they are to our communities. I am Keisha Lance Bottoms, and I am Senior Advisor to the President for Public Engagement. And previously, I was the Mayor of Atlanta, and you can count me in that number as people who started small businesses this year as I transitioned out of office. As former mayor, I know how important small businesses are to the fabric of our communities. This scorecard announcement today is incredibly powerful because more Americans are starting new businesses than ever before. Last year, Americans applied to start 5.4 million new businesses, 20% more than any year on record. Small businesses are creating more jobs than ever before. Businesses with fewer than 50 workers created 1.9 million jobs in the first 3 quarters of 2021 alone, the highest rate of small business job creation ever recorded in a single year. And this small business boom has been particularly strong for entrepreneurs of color. For example, Hispanic entrepreneurs started new businesses in 2021 at the fastest rate in more than a decade. 23 40% faster than pre-pandemic levels. The president's economic agenda laid the foundation for this historic boom by combating the pandemic, providing families with greater financial security, and delivering more than $450 billion in emergency relief to small businesses. The administration's bottom-up approach to recovery has spurred this revival. The president recently welcomed a group of small business owners to the White House to reiterate his administration's commitment to making it easier to start a business and for small businesses to succeed. The president laid out his plan, and it is to expand access to capital for small businesses, make historic investments in technical assistance programs to help entrepreneurs thrive, and direct hundreds of billions of dollars in government contracts to small businesses in every single community. Earlier this year, the administration released the first ever equity action plan that laid out more than 300 concrete strategies and commitments to address the systemic barriers to our nation's policies and programs that hold too many underserved communities back from prosperity, dignity, and equality. As Administrator Guzman mentioned in his speech commemorating the centennial of the Tulsa Race Massacre, the president laid out an additional goal to increase the share of contracts awarded to small disadvantaged businesses to 15% by 2025. That commitment means that tens of billions of dollars in additional spend for small disadvantaged businesses by fiscal year 2025. Moreover, he charged every agency to assess available tools to increase opportunities for small businesses and traditionally underserved entrepreneurs to compete for federal contracts. We all know that equity is not a one-year project. It is a generational commitment. The president's directives address specific problems facing the American people and embed equity into the federal government's decision-making process to ensure this work is prioritized moving forward. Once again, today's announcement shows that the Biden-Harris administration's enduring commitment to making the promise of America real for every American is still in action. And with that, I will pass it back to Christina. Thank you all for inviting me to join today, and nice to see you, Secretary Buttigieg.
Thank you so much, Mayor. Thank you for joining us today. Now we'd like to turn it over to Department of Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg. Secretary?
Great. Well, thanks very much. And it's really a pleasure to be with administration colleagues like my fellow former Mayor Lance Bottoms and all of those who are here to mark this work. In particular, I want to recognize and thank the SBA and Administrator Guzman for your leadership, for your work ensuring that small businesses have that chance to contract with the federal government, and for your collaboration across the different departments of this administration, including ours. We're very proud to be part of the Biden-Harris administration that has awarded a record-breaking number of contracts to small and disadvantaged businesses. And the Department of Transportation is very proud to have played a role in that as one of 11 agencies to receive an A rating for small business contracting. Last year, DOT's small business goal was 30.07%, and I'm proud that we achieved 33.61%. The DOT increased the number of small disadvantaged business prime contractors by 1.59%. And working with SBA, we have stepped up our outreach and our capacity building work in order to help with issues like access to capital and bonding capacity. And the contract awards that we gave to disabled veteran-owned small businesses, to hub zone firms, and more have all increased. Right now, we have even greater opportunity, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, I believe, thanks to the large investment in infrastructure and jobs in my lifetime coming through the president's infrastructure vision and the bipartisan infrastructure law. So now we have to make sure that these dollars get to where they can do most good, and that we do a good job engaging DBEs to bring these projects to life. We've just released a notice of proposed rulemaking to strengthen our DBE programs to make sure that small and disadvantaged businesses have a level playing field to compete for these infrastructure contracts. And that notice is out right now for public comment and feedback through the coming weeks. We've restarted our local hire program to make sure that people living in overburdened and underserved communities benefit not only from the new infrastructure that's being built there, but from the jobs and opportunities that come with building it. And we've expanded our collaboration with federal partners. Again, especially pleased with the terrific collaboration going on with SBA, also with MBDA, the Minority Business Development Administration, the Department of Labor, and the Department of Energy to step up support for small and disadvantaged businesses looking for federal contracts, including SBA's bond guarantee program as part of our department's bonding education program. As we have expanded access to capital through non-traditional programs like SBA's Small Business Investment Corporation, or SBIC, we will continue pursuing and developing that work and looking for new avenues of collaboration. We're really looking forward to continuing to make progress, working with the leaders here to make sure that small, disadvantaged businesses can help build the infrastructure that will get all Americans where they need to go today and for generations to come. And we recognize that this is not only the right thing to do from a fairness perspective, but also imperative to the success of this infrastructure vision, because we cannot succeed if we leave any talent on the table. Thank you again for the chance to join with you, and really looking forward to the work ahead.
Thank you so much, Secretary. Now we'd like to invite NESA Administrator Bill Nelson to share his remarks. Thank you.
Okay. Everybody, we really value at NASA the relationship with the SBA, and we have taken it very seriously. Just last year, we did $7 billion in small business contracts. We specifically look at minority, women-owned small businesses, disadvantaged. And let me give you just an example of two of the projects that are going on that are particularly in the news now, and tell you how much go to small business. Most anybody, if you've heard the news over the last couple of weeks, know about the James Webb Space Telescope, which is looking back in time and capturing pictures from the formation of the very first galaxy 13.5 billion years ago. Well, we awarded small business contracts just on that telescope contract to 39 states, and it was worth about $500 million, all of them. Or take, for example, the upcoming project that most everybody will be looking at. It's the launch of the largest, most powerful rocket ever. It's starting the Artemis program to go back to the moon, to settle the moon, to learn to live, and to go on to Mars. That launch will occur August the 29th. Well, in that program, we have virtually contracts to almost every state, small businesses, and well over $4 billion just in that contract. So we really value this relationship. We're honored and we're humbled that you all would give us an A rating, and we thank you very much. And now we're going to try to exceed those goals that you've set for us as we did last year. We're going to try to do that in this year. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Administrator. Now we'd like to turn to Department of Defense Undersecretary, Dr. William LaPlante. He's Undersecretary for Defense for Acquisition and Sustainment.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you, and thank you to my Biden-Harris teammates. And like them, I appreciate the administrator including us in this important event to highlight our collective achievements and doubling down to even increase our efforts further. I really value our partnership with SBA, Administrator Guzman and her staff, and they're critical to our continued success in the Department of Defense, and of course to all of our federal agencies. And we look forward ahead. Obviously, small business play a key role in the American economy, but particularly in the national security arena. They're critical to us to develop and deliver and for critical capabilities for the warfighter, and really to do this with innovation. I mean, we need the innovation, we need agility. We have peers, actors around the world that are moving fast. We have to move fast, and we have to use the great American workforce and economy and our small businesses for our new ideas. We have exceeded our prime contracting goal for small and disadvantaged businesses for the 8th consecutive year in 21, and it demonstrates our commitment to maximize opportunities. And really, again, we need this not just for increased competition, but that's a means to an end. It's for the innovation and for giving us the new ideas. And I could also give a couple of vignettes, whether it's using the Defense Production Act during COVID to a lot of the rapid capabilities that we're delivering to the Ukrainians in their heroic fight with the Russians. We depend on small businesses in the Department of Defense, and we really need them. And we have to continue to look at removing and lowering barriers to do business with us. And we have that high on our priority list. So in the coming months, the department will be rolling out our small business strategy, and it will have additional initiatives we're going to do to reduce barriers to entry and aligning our small business with our national security imperatives for the country. And of course, our national security is related to our national economic security. They're intertwined. And again, we really appreciate being part of this event, and thank you to the Small Business Association Administrator, excuse me.
Thank you, and thank you so much for joining us today. Now, finally, we'll turn to U.S. General Services Administration Deputy Administrator Katy Kale. Kate.
Thank you, Christina. Thank you, Administrator Guzman and all of my colleagues on the call. Here at GSA, we believe that government works best when it works for everyone. So I'm very excited to be here celebrating this new all-time record for the federal government's efforts and using its buying power to expand equity and opportunity for more Americans. As you heard today, the Biden-Harris administration is going all in to support small businesses, and it's paying off. GSA has been focused on small businesses for a long time. In fact, this is the 12th straight year that we have scored an A or an A+ from SBA, and I am pleased to report that this year we got an A+. But what does that mean? Well, that means that in FY21, GSA awarded nearly $2.7 billion working with small businesses. That represents 46%, nearly half of our agency's eligible spend. We beat all of our category goals in prime contracting, and in subcontracting, we exceeded both our women-owned small business goals and our overall small business goals. Small businesses are helping GSA deliver in so many ways. For example, from supplying COVID tests during the pandemic, to installing electric vehicle chargers at federal buildings, to technology modernization projects, and to once-in-a-generation investment that we're making in land ports of entry through the bipartisan infrastructure law. We know that that is incredible value to working with small businesses. They are nimble, responsive, innovative. They help us deliver effectively and efficiently and equitably for the American people. And they're creating good paying jobs along the way. So that's why we're going to keep doing everything we can to support them. And in fact, today, right now, both today and tomorrow, GSA is hosting our second annual Small Business Works event. A few hours ago, I helped kick off the event with around 1,000 small businesses participating. They're getting free training on how to do business with the government, everything from GSA schedules to SBA loans. And we're even hosting a matchmaking session this afternoon. Our goal is to make it easier for these companies to do business with the federal government and to succeed. And we're always looking for ways to improve. For example, GSA teams recently found that there was a gap in supporting small businesses once they have gotten their first contract. So we're introducing a program to help ensure buyers and sellers are on the same page about requirements and expectations. This helps set them up for successful long-term business relationships. Building a government that works for everyone takes the work of everyone from every corner and every community across our country. So thank you again for having us today. GSA is rightly proud of this partnership with the America's small businesses, and we are fully committed to continuing to support them as they lead the way in building stronger communities and stronger families throughout our country. So with that, back to you, Christina.
Thank you so much. And that concludes the speaking portion of today's event.